Alright guys, welcome back to the Frugal Homestead. So I think it's time we hit up the June garden tour. So sit back, relax, make sure you hit that like button. Let's go check out what's growing. Okay, as you guys can see, the strawberries are starting to come on. They're actually starting to get some color. So a lot of these are going to get robbed out by chipmunks and birds and stuff. I don't get real picky about it. As long as my granddaughter gets a few of them, I'm happy. But here and there, they're starting to turn colors and come on. Okay, as you can see, our comfrey is ready to be chopped. I actually let it go a little too far because it's flowering. That's not good. I'll get all this chopped and turned into compost tea, and I'll show you guys how we do that in an upcoming video. Starting on the fence line here, you can see all the way around, all the way to these fences where it's actually growing over the fences, are peas. Now these sugar snap peas are our early season crop, and we've been out here picking them like crazy. If you follow us on Instagram or on Facebook, you'll have seen lots and lots of pictures of them. But they're producing pretty good this year. I'm definitely not complaining. I've pretty much picked these things dry though for the moment. There's some. But you can see they're just growing way above the fence tops. Definitely having a good year. Now down here below, there is actually, well, there's some poison ivy. But down here we've got radishes and turnips planted in between them. This guy fell down. Something's been chewing on you, huh, buddy? So we'll get him hung back up, but you can see that's a beautiful pea right there. But yeah, we've got radishes and turnips planted down in between it on the ground. So that one's right on top of that one. I'll pull that out and feed that to the chickens. But yeah, we've got them planted all in between. We're just letting them grow. There also is tomato plants. If you look right there, there's a budding. There's a tomato plant. And some of them even have tomatoes on them already. Now these are the Amish paste tomatoes that we've just got mixed in here sporadically. Now we're at the point of this crop where it's almost time to back plant the fence panels on the other side with the Blue Lake pole beans. So we'll be getting those in the ground here real soon, and all those racks except for the first two will be taken over by Blue Lake pole beans. The first two have tomatoes, and the pole beans will block out the sun too much for them, so we won't be planting them in those. Alright, in this upper garden, or what we call the upper garden, we planted some bush beans in this area. Then over here, you can see this is a variation of a blackberry called a catata berry, and they are absolutely loaded. I can't even begin to explain how loaded these guys are. Just absolutely covered. Here's a good look. Look at all those. Now this bed, I purposely built this bed to support these plants. These plants came from Oregon, I believe, with my Aunt Carolyn. But anyways, you see how thick the stalks are and everything, and how strong the plants are. This bed was literally just made out of rabbit poop. and then I mixed in compost and wood chipped it and kept working it. This is what happens after 2 or 3 years. Once the plant's heavily established, it just blows up. Kind of a bad placement to put them in here, but we were afraid the deer were going to eat them, and we only had like 2 or 3 plants, and we want to make sure they went. So down there you can see the onions. We do have a few peas along the fence side here, but our onions are pretty good size. We've been pulling them. We're about to pull a bunch more and replant. All right, right here we've got zucchini, and then I believe that's zucchini as well, and these should be cucumbers. I think these are the pickle variety cucumbers, if I remember right. So they're all starting to come up now. All right, so the raspberries, these are ever bearing. They usually fruit twice a year. This year it looks like the first fruiting's not gonna hit. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure by now usually they've already fruited their first time. They're big, they're full, they're lush. They're just not hitting their first fruiting cycle this year. These things spread like there's no tomorrow. We've moved a bunch of these back over behind the house, but I'm gonna build more beds along here as time goes on. But yeah, they are taking over the bed again. Gonna have to give some of these away. Definitely growing good. All right, these are our gimme tomatoes that were gifted to us. Our buddy Randy sent these over and we got them in the ground. It's a couple different varieties, but as you can see, they're doing pretty well. They're taking off. Pretty happy with them. All right, this lower garden, we just broke this ground this year and we still haven't got it where we want it. All those are bush beans. You guys might have saw the video where I planted those. They're all doing quite well. We need to get in there, get them mulched in between. We actually just got some more chips brought on the other side of that pile. We're just letting them cool down a little bit, and then we'll come in here and mulch all this up. Now, Missy planted these, so bear with me. I'm pretty sure that this one and this one is the squash, or zucchini, I'm sorry. This is the squash, and these are cucumbers. I believe that's the order she planted them in. But they're not growing so well down here in this middle section because I haven't cut that little tree down right there yet. I got to get that done. That's definitely going to be important. Now, our asparagus is pretty much stopped, it looks like, for the year. The bed's full of crap, but it's pretty much stopped growing as far as I can see. This is one of those things where it never makes it in the house usually. My granddaughter usually comes out here. Nope, there's one. There's a good one. So this will be my few treats of the year. Most of the time I don't get asparagus. My granddaughter Olivia grabs it out of the garden and just chomps it down. That's pretty good. So our blueberry plants in this bed are kind of sad. And they kind of always have been sad. I don't know. Poor genetics. Because I've given them everything they could possibly want. I don't keep them weeded as well as I should. But we're going to be doing some things with them in the future to try and bring them back. Now, let's go up behind the house and check out all the berries and stuff and grapes up there. Alright, so if we're looking in here, we see some signs of life here. Some signs of some grapes. These guys have never established completely correctly. As you can see, there's grapes there, but they're not establishing out. We'll have to work on these beds some more too. We just topped these off this year, and the ground here is super hard, so probably gonna have to take care of these for another year before they start producing real nice. Raspberries are taking off. Definitely have no complaints. Same thing, no early season fruiting here, but you can see they're established, and unfortunately they're going to take over this bed really quick. So we will be splitting these and probably have to give them away because we just don't have any more room. All right, these are Missy's pride and joy. These are her babies. These are her thornless giant blackberries. They are all flowered out and just doing their job of producing fruit. And they are going to be loaded. Not as good as the catatas this year, but these make much bigger berries. These are about the size of your thumb. And as you can see, there's plenty of berries being made. They are cut off from the sunlight somewhat in some spots, especially most of the morning. There's a lot of tree foliage here that I gotta trim back. I can't remember the name of this tree, but it's an invasive species. We call it tree of heaven. That's our nickname for it, but you cut this stuff and it just keeps growing back, so I've got to cut a bunch of that down. But after trimming them, if you haven't seen that video, you should go back and check it out. Once you trim these things, man, they just go nuts. And they are gonna be huge berries all over them. All right, so these are the other raspberries, and you can see they're trying to fruit. Trying to fruit, which is impressive, because these guys got put in last, so they're not really established as well as I'd hoped. And the last thing on the tour today is the peach trees. These are mini dwarfs that I am forcing to grow up. They are in poor ground, they are in a poor spot, but they are starting to put in work. Now, I have not been nice to these trees. I have been forcibly twice a year pruning the bottoms, forcing them to grow up to get above the building line here and get up to this opening to where more sunlight will hit them. Plus, I'm forcing them up because they're mini dwarfs. They're not supposed to get super tall. I think it was like 15 to 20 feet was going to be the maximum after like 7 to 10 years. The deer come out of the woods here and sneak up, and they'll stand up on their hind legs and eat all the peaches off of them. So we've never really got to eat peaches off of them that much. So I've been forcing them to grow up for the last 2 years to push them up to where they grow and we can use the fruit picker to pick them, but nothing can get up there to get them. Unfortunately, they're very heavy in fruit this year, and that may be their demise. That may be their downfall. I got to watch for broken limbs, and I got to keep my eyes open to make sure that there's not so much fruit that it's pulling all the nutrients and doesn't balance it, and none of them ripen. So we'll have to see how it goes. I'm just going to let them go. I don't force my trees. I let my trees do what they're going to do. The only thing I force is the trimming the bottom and keeping them cleaned out so they can grow up. They're definitely loaded with fruit this year, though. I'm very happy. I may end up having to brace the whole trees with the weather lately. But we really appreciate you guys coming along and checking us out here at the Frugal Homestead. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notifications bell so you see all of our upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one. Man, those things are loaded.